Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day with Queen Bee. I think I'm going to start off by putting this trunk lift on here. The other day, this side trunk lift actually broke off down there. I had to remove it, and I got a replacement from the salvage yard, if I could find the clip for it. Then I'm going to do some work on the inside. Well, that's all done. Took about 2 minutes. That's the one that broke. Heck, that thing might have unscrewed. Whatever. Anyway, gotta keep moving. Next up on Queen Bee, replace the steering wheel and the airbag, and the horn's still not working. The fuse is good. Not sure why. I gotta figure that out later. We are going to continue the Tinker Day replacing the spark plugs on this Mazda CX5. I think it's a 2012, maybe 2013. Doesn't matter. They're all the same. This is a 4-cylinder, and we got the parts from the dealer. Like to use dealer parts. You can substitute equivalent parts if you like. When you get the dealer parts, there's no guessing. You got what they wanted you to have. When you get equivalent parts, you go to the parts store. They sometimes sell you what they think is best for you. Not all the times what's equivalent. So that's where I like to get the parts. Let's get started opening up the hood. You open the door, you pull this handle. That unlocks the hood. The hood still should be under its safety mechanism latch. Lift the hood up a little bit. Put your hand under here. Right about in the middle of this hood, there's a little rocker. You rock that to the right. Lift the hood up. Once you get the hood up, it's kind of heavy, but it has a support hole there and a support bar that runs across here in this clip. You unclip that, put that up there. There it is. The hood is safely supported so that you can tinker around in here. Now this is the engine cover, just a decorative piece. You got your dipstick where you can check your oil there. You got your oil fill hole there with the weight and viscosity. We're also going to do an oil change, but we're going to do one thing at a time, starting off with the tune-up. Now, you know you'll need a tune-up when a couple things happen. Number one, you've exceeded the scheduled maintenance time change. Most of these vehicles are on 100,000 mile spark plugs because they have iridium plugs. But check your owner's manual to see how often they recommend you get your spark plugs replaced, and replace them as often as they recommend. Also, part of a tune-up is changing the air filter and the air box. So your air filter, your spark plugs, likely your oil change constitutes a tune-up on this vehicle. And we did get an air filter, but like I said, we'll do one thing at a time. So you want to start off by lifting this cover up. It has clips that hold it down. Better if you use 2 hands. So there's 4 press pins. 1 there, 1 there, and 2 on the back side. 1 goes in a hole there, 1 goes in a hole there. So you got 2 holes here, 2 press pins. Insulated panel helps muffle the sound of the engine, and that shows you the top of the engine. This is a 4-cylinder combustion engine. You know that because you have to put gas in it. If the vehicle runs on gas, it's combustion engine. You got coil packs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those things normally last between 150 and 200,000 miles. You'll get notices if you start having misfires. That's a clue that you need coil packs. But what we want to do is take this 8mm screw out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift these coil packs up and off of the spark plugs, and then use the tool to remove the spark plugs. Here we go. We got these screws. Lift them out. Don't drop them. Don't lose them nowhere. I like to put stuff close to the windshield. It seems to stay there better. You can unplug these, or they just have enough slack to lift them up and out of the way, one at a time. I don't think you can mix them up. let me grab the tool to pull the spark plugs out. Now you could vacuum this stuff up so nothing falls down in there, but there's the spark plugs there. You want to use a spark plug socket, which is a 5/8. They often have a magnet or a rubber piece down there to grab hold to the spark plug. I got what appears to be a 6-inch 3/8 extension. The ratchet, drop it down in the hole, wiggle it onto the spark plug, and then get that spark plug out of there. This actually doesn't feel like it's grabbing the spark plug. Oops. Tool fell down in there. Well, this is a little frustrating. My 5/8 socket doesn't fit on those spark plugs. It fits on the new spark plugs they sold me to install, but not on the spark plugs I need to remove. So I'm gonna run to the store and grab another tool. I had a deep 14 and a deep 14 work, so that's what I'm using to get the spark plugs out. Once you loosen the spark plugs all the way, if you don't have a spark plug socket to pick them up, use a magnet, drop it down in there, and pick them up. Get them out of there. Now, before you put in the new spark plugs, you want to inspect these old spark plugs to see what they look like, make sure they're right. Looks like somebody replaced these with NGKs. That may or may not have been a good thing. And I'm not sure if that's why they're a different size. But you want to match the threads to make sure the threads are the same. You see that oil on there. There may be oil getting down in the spark plug well, which it doesn't look like. So that could be fuel not burning properly off the end of the spark plug. Because that thread is wet. That's probably fuel. Alright, so you want to look at these spark plugs, see if anything looks strange on them as far as the tips are not broken or look very different or something like that. And let's get a new spark plug to compare it with. So this says Mazda 18110 is the number on there. If that comes into light play here, my flash is burning it. Sometimes if you use a different plug, wow, come on, come in focus and in light so people can see them. If you use a different plug, that could affect the fuel economy. I'm gonna read the numbers on there, see what it says, but that's a new plug and that's an old plug. Alright, strike one. The dealer definitely sold me the wrong plugs. That plug is way bigger than the one I pulled out. It's not going to work. So I got to take that back and get the proper plugs for this vehicle. So I picked up these parts, giving them the vehicle information. I didn't have the VIN when I picked up the parts, so I'm going to cut them a break on that. But I am going to have to take these plugs back and maybe get another set. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these back in. Now what you would do, say you got the right plugs, you put them in the tool, you start them down in the hole by hand. What I mean by that is, drop this down in the hole, you start the tool in the thing by hand until you know it's going into the engine hole. The hole down in there, then you may be able to put a tool on there, the ratchet tool on there. Then once they get snug, you want to torque these probably about 22 to 25 foot-pounds each one. Then put these coil packs back on them, secure the coil packs, and then put the cover back on. Pretty easy, simple steps. Another thing you want to do is measure the gap. These spark plugs should be a certain gap. The new ones should come pre-gapped, but it would be a good idea to know what that gap is and check the gap. The owner's manual should also have the gap. So you want to check the gap on the old ones, check the gap on the new ones so you can see how much they've changed in the wear that they've had. Next, we're going to do the engine air filter. Let me check the owner's manual to see how often they recommend you do that. Of course, if you're in a dirty environment, New Mexico, places where dirt fly around, you want to do that more often. If you're in a normal environment where it's not that dusty and dirty, you could do it as the maintenance schedule recommends. The owner's manual recommends you replacing the cabin filter every 25,000 miles or 2 years, and they recommend you replace the engine air filter every 35,000 miles. So we're going to do that. Not really sure why, but they have a Schedule 1 and a Schedule 2. Maybe Schedule 2 is extreme use, but the air filter is recommended replace every 37,500 miles, and the cabin air filter is recommended to replace every 30,000 miles. Your engine air filter is in this box here. It has a couple latches on the front of it. Has a latch there, you just pull that forward. Has a latch there, you pull that forward. Now the box actually pivots forward and lifts up a little bit so you can pull the air filter out of there. Now you want to be careful not to muscle this hose around too much, because you can break or crack this hose, which will cause the car to run really bad. And you don't want to break any of these other hoses. So gently move this thing, and it also has this wire attachment on the back, so you don't want to muscle this stuff around too much. So if you look down there, you can lift the front up and pull that forward just enough to lift it up enough to get the air filter out. I could probably sneak the air filter out that way and put the new one in. Let me grab it. I was able to lift the lid up this much without putting stress on anything. I don't feel like anything is stressed. Let me grab that, pull it out. And the new one I'm going to put in there, I'm going to date it and put mileage on it so that people can know when it was replaced last if they ever inspect it. Here is the old air filter. Here's the new one. Unfortunately, this new one is bigger than the old one, so I cannot use that either. So I need to take that back. So I struck out twice with these dealer parts. I'm starting to wonder if he gave me parts for an entirely different car and not a CX5. It's like, did you give me parts for a CX7 or a CX9? Good Lord. Let's try the cabin air filter. See if this is the right filter. So the cabin air filter is supposed to be right behind this glove box. It has a support latching mechanism here that you pull forward to unlatch, and then you squeeze the box in on both sides to get it to fall down where you can get at the cabin air filter. So let me squeeze this box in, let the glove box fall down so I can see the cabin air filter. So there it is. Here's the cabin air filter. Should be able to pull it out just like that. You can see this one has not been replaced in a very long time. This will strain the blower motor, restrict the airflow in there, and I've seen them rotted out to where they're just blowing chunks through there. So let's see if this cabin air filter is the correct one that I got from the dealer. Looks like a generic cabin air filter, and it is not quite the same size. It is, but why would they give me a filter that doesn't have the casing? Awkward. So I'm going to slide this filter in here, but I am going to make sure the flow's correct. That's an arrow there. I'm assuming because this had so much garbage on top of it that the flow is going down on there. Okay, yeah. So this is a Napa filter. Maybe Napa has a handle on theirs and the dealer doesn't. That's very awkward. So this is going to go in this way, and I'm going to date it so that I can have mileage and date on it. Take the filter. Oh crap, it don't even fit in a hole. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I got 3 parts that don't fit. They must all be for a different car. Jeez Louise, this is just bizarre. Okay, let me take this one back too. Okay, party people. I tried to get all the parts from the dealer. That didn't work out because this person I'm trying to help lives out of town. It's a 4-hour drive. I had to go to AutoZone to get the parts so I could finish this job this evening and get out of here. I don't have another 4 hours to donate, and that 4 hours is not 4 hours that I would get paid for. It's 4 hours that I lose. So anyway, let me go ahead and put this engine air filter in, cabin air filter, spark plugs in, change the oil in this car, get out of here. Right now it's probably, 9:40 or 9:30 at night. And this is how I date the filter. Mileage, date, 2-year filter, 37,000 miles, so it should be replaced before 200,000. Put all 4 spark plugs in. If you don't have a torque wrench, turn them in by hand with the tool. Then you put the ratchet wrench on there and you ratchet it until it starts getting snug. And from snug you go 1/8 of a turn. So let's say the tool is right here. And it's snug, you go 1/8 of a turn after they get snug. Now that the spark plugs are in, we can put the coil packs back on. Try to make sure you get these coil packs down on the spark plugs. They will get the tip started. They will slide down in there and they will be level. And then you snug down that bolt that you took out. It don't have to be tight, just snug with the 8mm, those 4 bolts there. And you're done with the spark plugs. Once you slide that filter under there, you look over top of this box and you align those pins in those tracks, get both of those in, and then you put the 2 clips on there and you're done with that. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.